Hi, thanks for watching Viking Mountain Ranch. Well, today is not the happiest show I have for you today, but it's a truthful fact that happened, and I'm going to explain exactly what happened. But when you have a ranch and you're, having animals, things don't always go happy. It's just life. Life doesn't always go happy, but it's something that does happen. So I'll show you what happened. Thanks for watching Viking Mountain Ranch. So I wanted to give you guys a little explanation and explain what happened. That was a tragedy. My goat Newton, my big buck, my alpine buck, beautiful Newton, my beloved pet. Well, this is what happened. So we're trying to downsize a little bit, and so I'm not a fan of actually breeding, animals and stealing their babies away and selling them, and it's just a painful process. They have to think about it this way: the goats have to go through 5 months of pain. 5 months of pregnancy, have babies, and then they get stolen away and sold as like a commodity. I think it's kind of abusive to do that to an animal each year. They cry for 3 days when you take the babies away. So it's not something that I relish. I don't, for a little bit of change. You're not going to make a lot off of a goat baby. I sold 6 of them, and the mothers, they can take it pretty hard. They don't even want to eat, after the baby leaves, they lose weight. So I don't think it's a good idea. Personally, for me, now other people do it, it's fine for them, but for me, I'm not going to do that, every single year. Now, yeah, I'm going to skip this year. I'm not going to breed them this year. So I thought, well, Newton, I'm going to find a good home for him and let him go be a breeder, because there's a lot of people looking for registered alpine goats. It's a very prestigious thing, and he was a beautiful buck. He was a little aggressive, and he did try to he reared up on his hind legs, and he would, like, I couldn't go in there with him, and it was sad because I could pet him on the outside of the fence. He was a sweetheart. But the minute you open up the gate, he's up on his hind legs, and he's wanting to come down and headbutt you with his 20-inch horns. That's very dangerous. He tried to do that multiple times with Larry, despite being whacked in the head by a 2x4 many times. That just made him want to do it more. He thought he was playing, and so that was a dangerous job. I had gone in there, and when I turned around, luckily I turned around at the right time, because he was coming down with his horns at me. Thinks I'm a goat, wants to play with me. Doesn't understand that he could kill me. So we decided to put some ads out and find a good home for him, which I thought I did. So this kid who was 15 years old but seemed real, I was talking to him, he seemed very mature, said he wanted to come get Newton, and he wanted to use him as a breeder. He had does on his property, and he wanted to breed Newton because he thought he was a beautiful goat, and he didn't want to buy a goat from the auction, because you can get sick and low quality goats from the auction. So I thought, wow, okay, this is neat. He wants to come. He's going to drive more than 2 hours over here to get Newton. He didn't haggle about the price, so I thought he really wanted him. So while he brings this big trailer, he brought 2 friends of his, because he was only 15, he couldn't even drive yet. So he had to have somebody bring him. So when they got here, he went in there and took charge, like I figured he was a farm kid, and I gave him 2 chickens. I thought he was wanting to start a farm. He seems excited. I said, you want 2 chickens? I'll give you 2 chickens. There you go. Off he went. All that night, I texted him and I said, hey, are you happy with Newton? Do you, because I was having seller's remorse already, because, I love that goat. I raised him from a baby. And he said, no, I'm happy with them. I'm very happy with them, and he's good. So, okay, I thought, all right, well, it's for the best anyway. So, the next day, I look online, and there's this post that Newton's on there. At 10:10 that night, on Sunday night, he was listed on the auction site saying consigned for auction in like 2 days. I'm like, what? This can't be happening. So I started posting. He had already taken the goat to the auction. He was already listed under consignment. So I called the owner, and I talked to him, and he said, well, there's nothing I can do. You sold the goat. There's nothing you can do. And I was like, well, this is crazy. And the auction had already taken possession, and he didn't want to, he knew that See, at auction, you're going to get a whole lot of money for that goat because he was huge. And I wasn't after the money. I was after a good home for Newton. So for 2 days, I was texting and trying to see what I could do. So I thought, okay, I'm going to register and I'm going to bid him back. Anyway, the owner of the auction, he sends me a link to click on so I could register to bid at the auction. Well, the link he sent me was a fraudulent link. So when I clicked on it, I put my information on it. It was just a disaster all the way around. So I put my information in it. My bank calls me and they said, we've canceled your debit card because somebody tried to charge up a lot of money on your debit card. So now I have no debit card. So now we only have one. So now I can't even register to bid Newton back. So I'm thinking, what is this? Am I not supposed to have this goat? Why keep hitting dead walls, brick walls? So the next day was the auction. So all I could do was just watch. All I could do was watch. So I held my phone and I watched. And after many hours of watching all of these meat goats go through and stuff like that, I saw Newton come out. And I could not see the entire audience. All I could see was the front row. And I heard this man say, "Hey, is he registered?" And the auctioneer holds up the papers and he said, "Yes, I got his papers right here. He's registered." And then the guy said, "I'll take him." And he literally, it was more than double. He paid more than double of what I sold Newton for. So he won Newton. So all I could say, I called up the auctioneer and I left a message. I said, "Can you just please let me know, is that guy gonna send him to the slaughterhouse or is he going home with this man to be a breeder?" And nobody will call me back. I can't find out. So all I can do is hope for the best. Newton's gone. I believe that, of course, everybody, all of us are not going to get out alive, and the spirit lives on. So I know that, it's just, it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it. You can't go back. And I'm wondering, oh, and I forgot to tell you. So, and the other part that happened, so anyway, after the auction, I texted that kid and I said, "Listen," my words were exactly like I said, "I think you're a bad person." I said, "You lied to me for my monetary gain." I said, you lied to me, and I would have never sold you my goat if I had known you were going to do that." And then he lied again. And he said, "Oh, I sold him because Monday morning he knocked my grandmother down." And I said, "Yeah, but you posted him Sunday night before Monday morning." Well, caught him in another lie. And then he started apologizing. I'm sorry, it's just what I do. I sell animals for money, that's how I make money." And I told him, I said, "Well, if you're 15 years old and you're starting off like this, you're gonna have some bad karma, because you can't operate like this. You can't, if you want a legitimate business." And I don't have a problem with meat goat auctions. I mean, that's how we eat. That's fine. But don't lie. If he didn't lie, if he wasn't dishonest, none of this would have happened. And it was an unfortunate. I understand meat goats, sure. That's how people eat. But you don't sell someone's beloved pet like that, and especially when I told them before I'd take them back. But anyway, long story. I try to find the positive lessons in this. Maybe the lesson wasn't for me after all. Maybe it was, but maybe it was for him to, because I gave him a piece of my, a piece of my mind. I said, "Listen, you need to think about what you're doing because it's wrong. It's wrong what you're doing." And then he was all apologetic and saying, "I'm sorry. I'm not." I told him, "You need to be honest from now on." And so he agreed that he was lying to me or not, but maybe the lesson was for him. Maybe he's thinking about it. But all in all, we are without Newton. Inky, my other buck, the 1-year-old buck that's Tri-Sun, he went across the way, and I'm happy for him. He went to a good home. He has 44 female does that he's living with, and he's the only buck, and so he gets to mate with all of them. Nice people bought him. We went over to their house. We went the whole family. They're a homeschooling group, homesteading. They have animals and farm and all that. So I'm happy for Inky. So all I have left now are my 5 girls, my 4 original does, 1 baby girl, and my Newton's little baby son, Marduk. So that's all the goats I have now, and that's what I'm keeping. Okay. So anyway, I wanted to tell you the story. I'm sorry if it was a long story, but there's no easy way to tell you that story. But thank you for listening, and thank you for watching Viking Mountain Ranch.